Hello, welcome to the 212 podcast, the first one that's ever happened. I am Lieutenant Larry, joined by Lt.Col Bacon. Hello. Alright, so I think it's best to get this started. How does it feel to be the first one of this podcast, and how long it's taken to actually get this going?
I don't know. Somewhat underwhelming because of how long it's taken, to be honest.
Yeah, it's taken a lot longer than we wanted, but that's what we were given. So I think it's best to start here. When you joined the server, have you ever thought about leaving? Like, was this just what you wanted?
Okay, let's see. Are there times where I thought about leaving? Yes, many. Did those thoughts go far at all? No, they did not. Not really. At some points, the server didn't really seem like I was doing anything, but, that's...
Right. Alright, so, as we know, in many of the suggestions that have come up in the server, in the suggestions channel, you have been very opposed to a lot of them. Do you care to explain why? Or are they just not what you believe in?
Well, I personally want a milsim that is very realistic. Of course, this isn't one of the more realistic milsims, and that's fine. But I do want it to at least be somewhat realistic to match, all that we're doing and stuff, and to match the actual milsim name.
I mean, realism, we don't do terrible. I mean, in the events, of course, at the beginning, it's not the greatest. I think we can all admit that, but we do pretty well for realism, as far as I believe.
Yeah, but it's also, some of the things are about redundancy, and they really just don't need to be put in, because it just doesn't make sense.
Right. So...
And...
go ahead.
Simply because I've been in the server for this long, most of these suggestions I have seen before, and they were denied. So...
Mm-hmm. So you've seen the experience with other milsims that you don't want to happen to this one?
Please repeat the question.
So what you've seen in other milsims, you don't want to happen to this one, is what I'm hearing.
I don't really have much experience in other milsims. My first milsim was, I was just joining random servers, just free roam. Just so happened to find a Camp Poncho 1, where I got recruited into the 501st, and a bunch of things happened. You know all that, and I was actually only in there for like a few events. The only events I can remember were bounding and RCR, but Eagle, he left that. He was the 2IC of that server, but he left to make this server. And I was only in the 501st for a few days, right? And the day after Eagle made that event with crews and they built it up and stuff and had it ready, he invited me, and I was technically the first member. And I was a first private in the 501st, so that's what I joined as in the 212th, and now I'm here.
Oh, so you got backdoor recruited, but I feel like everyone knows that.
Technically, but maybe.
Who's counting? Yeah, alright, so through that, as you said, you started as a first private. You've had a huge role in the building of this server. Is there things that go on behind the scenes that a private or a corporal doesn't see that just absolutely changes everything and no one notices?
Yeah, I would say so. So a while back, we had the big change with the ranks and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so most people don't know the amount of planning that had and conversations with Eagle that actually took, and it was a good bit because we had to figure out what ranks we were going to add, what we had to rework the entire rank identification system, and we've changed it since then too. So it took a lot for that. But I feel like there's also minor suggestions that people don't really notice, like the deleting events that really helps, and of course the attendance, which most people don't know about, and of course the event request forms and things like that. So
Right. So this one is from Schmeeg, like a lot more that we're about to go through. What is your favorite memory of this server?
okay, let's see. I'm not going to lie. I have attended at this point maybe 1,000+ events. I don't know, and I can only remember like 100. But outside of events, I guess probably it would either have to be when I became Lieutenant Colonel or when we got our first 10 out of 10 event.
Interesting. And man, how long ago was that 10 out of 10 event? That was a while back.
I don't really remember, if I'm being honest. I think we had like 30 or 40 members, and we somehow managed to pull a 10 out of 10. Probably was 40, but yeah. And well, now we're at 82. Not for counting bots, but
Yeah.
I feel like we've jumped a long ways.
Yeah, definitely. So when you first joined, of course, you were technically the first member. Is there anything that you wish you actually would have known before, joining that server? Or is there you just knew everything or not?
Okay, so I wish I would have known. I don't really know if there's anything I wish I would have known. Although I will say I did have to learn most of what I know on my own, like with the CQB and drill playlist I have. Those help a lot, and I do a bunch of MOSs and stuff, and I'm pretty good at combat and at pretty much anything tactical. But most of that I had to learn on my own, or I had to teach other people to teach other people and so forth. But yeah.
Right. I think this one goes into our next question. Do you have any current goals for the server, or do you think it's at a pretty ideal point at the moment?
My ultimate, what I would wish to see from the server is having such high attendance that you will rarely see a general, if we get to that point, or a high ranking officer like Lieutenant Colonel or Colonel in an event because of how much attendance we get. And also getting to the point where we have multiple battalions and all those events from all those battalions are getting full. That would be great, although that's pretty long ways away, and that would require at least 150 members.
Right.
So.
Alright, so becoming a regiment, as we know, is in the near future. As you said, we're at currently 82 members. For I think the first part is, how far away do you think we actually are? And second,
alright,
how long do you think this is going to take?
So let me do some quick math here. We have 10 people per platoon, 3 per company, 3 companies per battalion. That's 90 active members per battalion. So when it comes to that, you could say that we are somewhat close. However, most of our members either aren't or a good portion of our members either aren't active or just aren't privates or something like that. So I can actually go into the roles of the server, and right here it says we only have 42 people that have a rank. So that kind of brings it down a lot that you can see. But yeah, I'd say we're about halfway, simply because B company's about halfway filled out, and then we'll move to C company, and then we can become a roster. But if we do move forward with some changes that we've been working on, then we'll only be like 4 away. So it really all depends.
You said something about the changes. You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I can elaborate fully, but we are thinking about changing the amount of people per platoon so that we can become a regiment sooner. Mostly because Eagle wants to have the rank of general, but yeah.
So, what is your thoughts on becoming a general?
I don't know. I mean, for me,
It's just
I feel like not much would change, although, of course, I'd have a lot more permissions, as Eagle said to me earlier. Yeah, so permissions will change. I will say, one thing I'm a little bit worried about is the amount of time that it will take for us to kind of move the server into the battalion format or the regimental format, because that would have to combine all the companies into a battalion and have battalion events and battalion offices, and we'd have to rework pretty much most of the server's layout. But I'm pretty sure Eagle has that figured out in another server or something from a screenshot he showed maybe a month or 2 ago. I'm not quite sure on that, but that's my main concern.
So it's being tested to some extent.
I guess so, yeah, to some extent.
Alright. Speaking of change, is there something in the server that you want to be changed? Or do you think we're in a good spot?
Okay. So if I could change things, of course, other than our member count, because that's not really a goal for me, that's more of a goal for you.
Right.
Anyways. One thing I would like to see in this server, let's see. Honestly, it all depends on how Onward goes with its updates. Because if Onward continues to be more realistic, which, if I'm being honest, the Onward devs are being pretty stingy on that. They don't want to include gore into the game because kids play it for some reason, even though the game literally is an 18 plus game. I'm pretty sure, or a mature game. I'm fairly sure it's one of those, but I'm not quite sure on that. Anyways, even though it's one of those, and they could just include it in settings to adjust the gore levels, they won't add gore, which really sucks. But if they do add more medical things, I'd love to see a medic loadout that's purely for like medical roles and stuff like that.
Like a medic class.
Yeah, I will say we have gotten a suggestion about a medic that almost went through. It almost went through. And if you look at Eagle's roles, he still has the medic role. Certified medic. Which she just never deleted, and I don't know what.
He's too lazy to get rid of it.
But yeah, it says, see if I can find it. Oh,
I think
I've gotten rid of it.
Oh, that sucks.
But I do remember him having it for a while. I'll actually scroll through roles, see if I can find it.
Why you do that? So currently there are a lot of issues with the server, as every milsim has issues. With these issues, like recruitment, activity, anything else you can think of. I mean, do you have any ways that you think we could fix that, or just your thoughts on those?
More people recruiting is always good, but my main I guess you'd say, issue for the server is how our events are kind of made, or I guess. So most of our events are on Downfall, which sucks, especially because of the limited building models. And we are one thing that I absolutely hate people teaching is scripted, I guess you would say scripted breaching, because you don't know the building or the layout of a building that you're going to breach. And I also hate proper flash throwing or something, because if it makes it in the building, it's good. Again, you don't know the layout of the building, you're not going to know it ahead of time. And I just hate teaching people that, and I hate seeing people teach that. And that's one of my main issues, I guess, with how our trainings go. But they do need more, how do I say, uniqueness, I guess. It's like moving certain things. But, yeah. So trainings would probably need to be improved a little bit more, but that's my main issue.
Right, and to recruitment, do you have any real thoughts on that? Because obviously you said more people recruiting is, a great thing. Have you thought of any way to try and fix that? Because, of course, I've tried to push it out, and each time it's failed. We've had a small spike, and then no one recruits for another month.
Yeah, so the main problem I see with recruiting is not with recruiting itself, but with idiots on shooting range that just kill you instantly. It's a problem. And so we used to have separate servers on free roam waiting for people to join. That was slow, and it often got out of hand if too many people joined, but it did somewhat work. One way that I would say has worked for me in the past is joining a free roam server that has like 2 or 3 people in it, because those are usually chill servers, and then just talking to them for a little bit, and then you pop the question, and yeah. But recruiting does need to be worked on a lot, and how we recruit and stuff like that. And also, to elaborate on what I said earlier with the trainings, I am scrolling through event request forms, and maybe half of these say the map is Downfall, and that should not be happening.
Alright, and I think with that, this one comes from the one, the only Cannabis. What's your opinion on the milsim? No sugarcoating.
Could be more realistic. That's my main thing, I guess. I'm all for realistic teaching and stuff like that. But of course, I do like the fact it's a little bit more relaxed, so you're not just like standing at attention all the time.
Right.
Which you can probably tell by the way I join a server. I'm pretty much always sitting, but so ranks I feel like could be worked on still, because for me, I would like to have 1-to-1 model of the Marine Corps ranks, but we don't have that. It's a little bit kind of changed, I guess. Layout of the server could be better. So okay, yeah. So layout of the server could be a lot better, because I feel like some channels could be combined and stuff.
Right.
It's a little bit unnecessary having to scroll this much just to see stuff, and that's not even including some of the things I can't actually see, like Honor Guard and stuff, because I know that has a few channels.
But yeah, Honor Guard. Honor Guard's it's just another platoon or a company.
Yeah, honestly, Honor Guard kind of moved away from being an MOS to being like an actual thing you can pursue.
I like it, but at the same time, it feels like just a bit much. You know what I mean?
It does. Yeah. Honestly, I don't see us using Honor Guard that much, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
maybe we could have used it for our 1 year anniversary, although someone didn't have it ready.
okay.
You can't talk. You're the assistant director.
Hey, I came into assistant director like halfway through January. Plus, it's not my fault. Fast hasn't talked to me at all about it, except for giving me like codes and stuff.
Anyways, yeah.
Anyways.
So, honest opinions about this server. Out of 10, I would probably rate it a 6 or 7.
That's respectable. Alright, I think it's time for the question you're gonna hate me for. Let's talk about special forces.
I already hate you.
I mean, obviously, you had Lt.Col that you can't join SF because only one person passed.
Okay, I would like to clarify how mad I am when the reason I'm so mad when someone mentions SF. First ever SF training, I was in there, right?
Right.
I did pretty good, but 2 people did do better, and they got the thing and the training and all that. Second one, I could not join because the map was on exits to nowhere, which if you know, you know, and especially for that, this was when I had only my Quest 2, so I could not join. And when I could join, I was only in there for like 15 minutes before it crashed again. And so that was just total BS on that one. I hate that training. They did say they would not be doing that map again, but still, I just hate it. And then third one, only one that qualified. Kind of sucks. Because everyone else sucks.
Honestly, they should have, in my mind, they should have let you go through, but wait till the next SF training. So when the next 2 people pass, then you have 3 people doing that training.
I don't know how their thing works, but it just sucks. And the fact we haven't done an SF in like 2 weeks kind of sucks as well, which is kind of odd if I'm being honest, because I still haven't seen an SF event go up, and they usually go up every weekend. They didn't go up last weekend, aren't going up this weekend, so a little concerned about that, but
Right. Wait, so you're able to see the SF channels, even though you're not in SF?
No, I'm not. Lieutenant General would be, but I cannot, no.
Then you're talking about the SF tryouts, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you confused me a little bit there. Alright, I think we'll move away from it, because you seem a little mad about it. This is just a little mad. Alright, we'll get a little bit more wholesome here. What's your favorite event? I mean, you kind of have to have... I feel like it's CQB related, but still.
I do love CQB, and you know how much I hold near and dear to my heart at teaching advanced CQB. And you know how much I hate it when someone does something wrong with that, but you know, that's besides the point. My favorite event, if I'm being completely honest, it would probably have to be either CCRP, which is combat. What was it again? It's combat. Give me just 1 second here. But it would either be CCRP or IBCT. And give me just 1 second to find the event list so I can. Okay, yeah. CCRP, Comprehensive Combat Readiness Program. It's kind of like being extremely outgunned by Volk. Really love those events. And IBCT, Infantry Brigade Combat Training, which is mostly just realistic patrolling, FOB holding, things like that. It's like a mix of that. The first IBCT that we did went on for 2 hours.
Oh my god.
That's our longest event, 2 hours. And the last like 10 minutes of it was just like the last 3 or 4 people sitting around talking about stuff. So, but for the most part, most of everyone stayed for at least an hour and 30 minutes.
Well, to follow that up, what's your least favorite event to attend? I know for Shmeeg, it's literally anything with downfall.
Let's see. Least firefights. I hate firefights with a passion. Because in my mind, there are certain firefights that are good, like the Volt team, Marsop team, die, you helmet reset and continue. Those are fun. But just a basic firefight where if you die, you wait in lobby till everyone else dies. I hate it. Just because you make a single mistake, die once, you have to sit out like 10, 20 minutes and wait for everyone else to die. And it's just a useless event in my opinion.
From my knowledge, the only person that's done that so far is Bulldozer, unless I'm wrong. Or he's the person that's mainly done it.
We haven't had too many firefights recently, but a while ago it was pretty common events, and I'm not gonna lie, most of the time when all I do with an event is look at the time, except then I scroll up and look at it. There are probably countless times where I saw the time, hit accept, looked at the title, saw it was a firefight, and declined. Because I hate firefights.
I mean, it's reasonable. I mean, from what you said, obviously. I agree with you. The firefights where you can actually rejoin, but you have to outlet reset, that's not bad. E.1 does something like that.
The map is like quickly getting back into the action.
Right. I mean, E.1 did something like that. It was capture the flag. It was the same principles.
Yeah. So capture the flag, if I'm being honest, Onward should implement capture the flag as a game mode, because that would be amazing.
Yeah,
like you put the flag in your chemlight pouch or something like that, because that would be amazing.
I mean, it wouldn't be terrible to actually have like a full flag. Like,
yeah, you would have to pick up, bring to your base.
You have to physically hold it, and it's where people can see where the flag is.
Yeah, so like you have to hold it, and the only thing you can have out is like a pistol or something on your other hand.
Right.
That would be weird.
I mean, you could have a rifle, but I mean, one-handed rifle is absolutely stupid. Yeah. So obviously, you've been in this server for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have there been any events where you've been just like so stressed out, you've just been like, I cannot be in this event anymore?
Yes, but not for the reason that you would think. Mostly because of mostly Eagle, but you know how he is, just like people talking. Like one time, the entire event, Eagle was kinda not doing it, just talking whenever. But during dismissal, I said red columns like 5 times, and he was still talking to a private, just off to the distance, and they were moving around and everything. So I literally had to remove him from that event during the dismissal. I had everyone go in tent and vote kick him because he would not leave, and I had to do that. And I put in the attendance report form. This is back when we still had problem soldiers and outstanding soldier lists. I put him on the problem soldier list. An hour later, I was just scrolling through it, and I noticed that my attendance report form wasn't there. So I put it in again. Boom, deleted again. So, not sure how Eagle's going to feel about me saying that in this podcast, but, you know, who cares?
It's a podcast. I hope you don't get judged for it. Everything in here is public information.
Yeah. Hello Eagle doesn't really like it when I speak about that.
I mean, I wanted this podcast to be more, no negative thing. I mean, not completely no negative, but, nothing controversial. We've broken that red line today.
Yeah. How do you think most podcasts make money? They have that one controversial guy.
Yeah, well, we started out with the first. That's the Yeah, anyways. Of course, you were in a private, and whenever you first joined, we didn't have CNCO and SNCO. But
it was JNCO, which was Junior Non-Commissioned Officer, and SNCO, which was Senior Non-Commissioned Officer. JNCO was Lance Corporal and Corporal. SNCO was Sergeant and Staff Sergeant.
Yeah, dude, any of the ranks that you actually had to go through, did you have a least favorite rank at all?
Oh, boy. Least favorite rank, it was getting to it or moving on from it?
In general, just getting to it, moving on from it, being in it.
I would say second lieutenant, because it's no secret. I almost failed OCS. Honestly,
you almost failed OCS. I almost failed OCS.
I don't know how you managed to do worse than me. So, anyways,
I got
my OCS. I did that with Enzo. I believe he was a lieutenant whenever he got kicked, which I still hate Eagle for it, but whatever.
Why did we kick him, by the way?
I believe it was because of his inactiveness, even though it was his inactiveness and maybe being in a VR chat thing. I'm not very sure on that. But, we have members who are in multiple servers in this server. And I don't know.
Of course, I don't think those are onward servers. Onward servers aren't going to make any difference, right? Or being in another server that's not onward, not going to make a difference.
We do have people in this server that are in, FUBAR, but, big ally, so Eagle makes an exception for that. But, so, yeah, really hate that. But anyways, me and Enzo did our test. Enzo got a 94 or something like that. I got a 76, and you need a 70 to pass. So yeah, I was cutting that a little close.
But you got a little close. I got way closer than you.
You did, yeah. You got a 70. I don't know.
Dude, but my last question for OCS was, what does Kilo mean? He gave OCS to me at that point.
Yeah, he had to. We have had someone who failed, but Eagle just let through anyways, and that was Lord, which he left. But yeah, he did fail, but Eagle kind of just let him through. We got a 66, I think. But, anyways, so did the OCS first event. Both me and Enzo were in. We did our ceremonial stepping on grass, which Eagle only just made a part of OCS. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that vividly.
Lieutenant is also when it actually started to take a little bit for me to get promoted, because before that, I got to corporal in about 3 days from private first class, and
lucky.
It took literally less than a month to get to staff sergeant, and then once you get to officer, it takes one or 2 months to rank up, especially once you get to the senior officers.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about how long I stayed at Lance Corporal. Anyways.
One thing I also absolutely hate is promotions like that, where you get promoted 3 times in a day. Hate it. 2 times in a day, hate it. 2 times in a week, hate it. Feel like there should at least be a week minimum.
Hey, I pulled off gunnery sergeant. That's the only one that took longer or shorter than a week for me. It's Gunny in First Private.
But anyways.
Anyways, yeah, so if people don't know, you have 4 of 10 MOSs. That's including negotiation. And 5 out of 11 if you count drone, but still.
Would you be including MOSs that aren't made yet?
Yes, that's what I'm including, yeah. Yeah. Alright. I can't include MOSs I don't know about as well.
Yeah. So
but yeah, you own 40% of the MOSs, which is a huge amount. And with all that, do you have a favorite or least favorite MOS?
favorite is Scout by a long shot. I absolutely love it. I love the gun, the 4X, absolutely love it. Second favorite, probably Rifleman. I love it. Just hitting shots. If I'm being honest, I train my Rifleman shot, our standard issue Rifleman, by moving 400 and moving 500 meter shots at shooting range. That's how I train. And it's honestly really good if you can start to hit those shots, but least favorite, honestly, I would say drone operator, but since I got my Quest 3, I don't have stick drift anymore on those controllers, so I can't actually use it. So I'm not gonna say that. But I feel like Negotiator has become useless because Eagle got rid of the code Charlie, which is a necessity.
And what was the Charlie? What was that code?
It was hostage. I really hate that he got rid of most of the codes because there was a bunch: hotel, friendly FOB, India, enemy FOB, golf, friendlies en route. RTB is still there, which we never use. I don't know. There was a bunch of others like Bravo, which was a friendly sniper, and yeah, there was a bunch of others like that, but he removed all of them. And he removed all of them because no one said them, so he removed them instead of teaching people to say them.
Alright, so I'm just gonna move on because the code is crazy. So, do you have a favorite officer? That's not Eagle.
I wasn't gonna say Eagle anyways. Probably depends. Depends on what version of them, I guess. Because if it's like serious fast, I don't know how I feel about that. Old fast, it would be fast. If it's with serious fast, it'd be Mitchell. But it's close between them.
Very interesting. And the final question I have for you. Request of Benji. Would you rather have unlimited bacon, but no more games, or unlimited games, but no games? I don't know.
I do love bacon. Favorite food, in case you couldn't tell by my name or anything.
Yeah. Who would name themselves Bacon?
Me. Anyways,
Alright, well, that is all the questions we have. Thank you for being here, of course. Of course, it's the first podcast. I think it's only right to ask, is there anyone you suggest for the next podcast?
Fix that introduction. I don't know what that introduction was, but
listen, me and Faz have never done podcasts before, so of course
watch some podcasts or something. I don't know.
I do listen to podcasts, buddy.
There you go.
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
There you go.
So, who do you want the next guest to be?
Let's see. Give me 1 second to go to the old. Scroll up enough to get to the podcast chat. All right. Literally the only person only 3 people volunteered when the first ping was put out, which was, by the way, that was... Give me a second, because I need to figure out...
That was in November, I think.
Yeah, that was in December, actually.
December.
Yeah, December 2nd. And I volunteered, Colby volunteered, he's no longer in the server, and Schmeeg volunteered. Only 3 that volunteered. So
I volunteered later. But now I'm running, so I can't really... I can't interview myself.
Interview yourself.
Alright, well...
let's give it to Schmeeg.
To Shmi. Alright, we'll keep that in mind. Well, things are coming around here. If there's nothing else, that is the end of the podcast. Thanks for coming, and we will see you next time.